The Howling Banshees are a predominantly female aspect of the Eldar that focuses on extreme agility and melee combat and prowess. While they are majority female, male Banshees do exist, though they are usually autarchs making their way through the paths and are only there for a limited time. Hello everybody, my name is Spoons Rattling, and welcome to my video covering the Howling Banshees of the Eldar. So, the Howling Banshees come in at 85 points, or 170, though that is the codex points, so that is subject to change. They move 8 inches, their toughness 3, with a 4+ save, a 4+ invulnerable, only in melee, though the aspect leader always has a 5+, and then they have 1 wound except for the Exarch, as I should say, has 2 wounds. Their leadership 6+ and OC 1, so fairly standard stats, though very fragile for the cost, they are extremely fast. In terms of ranged weapons, they all come standard with a shuriken pistol, which is assault, and pistol of course. One attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range with strength 4, AP 1, and damage 1. Nothing special, but competent enough at killing things like guardsmen. The Triskel is an option for the Exarch, which has anti-infantry 3+, with 3 attacks that hit on 3s at 12-inch range, with strength 3, AP 1, and damage 1, which is more of the same, nothing particularly interesting though. The Banshee Blade is the standard melee weapon, and it has seen some reworks. It has anti-infantry 3+ now. It lost a pip of AP and a attack, but that moved to them hitting now on 2s with 2 attacks at strength 4 at only AP 2, but damage 2. I'd say overall this is a buff. It makes them more general purpose at killing infantry, which is what they're meant to do. And then the Exarch has an option of 3 upgrades. The Executioner is anti-infantry 3+ with 3 attacks that hit on 2s at strength 6, AP 3, and damage 3. The Mirror Swords are anti-infantry 3+ with 4 attacks that hit on 2s at strength 4, AP 2, and damage 2. And the Triskel is anti-infantry 3+ with 6 attacks that hit on 2s at strength 3, AP 1, and damage 1. This also gives you the Triskel ranged weapon. Out of the 3, I'd say the Executioner is pretty easily the best, as it gives you some extra strength to help punch up slightly, and damage 3 is just exceptional, though the Mirror Swords also have their place. Their abilities include Fights First, which is exceptional, which means they are very hard to charge and deal with in melee. They have Acrobatic, which allows them to advance in a turn charge in a turn which they advanced or fell back. Very good. On top of that fast movement, means them getting to combat is very easy. And they have the Aspect Shrine tokens, which is once per battle. For each Aspect Shrine token this unit has, you can change the result of 1 hit or 1 wound roll made for a model in this unit to an unmodified 6. This is extremely helpful on the wound roll mainly, as this allows your Exarch, for example, with an Executioner, to at the very least force 2 wounds at damage 3 onto something like a vehicle, which would be very good damage for something that would usually struggle to deal with vehicles in a big way, so it's a good Executioner, so to say. Moving on to buffing pieces, there's 2 units that can lead the Howling Banshees, the first being Jane Czar, who brings a flurry of more damage 2 melee to the table, and has the squad effectively always moving 14 inches, as instead of rolling to advance, you simply add 6 inches to your movement, and you ignore vertical distance. Which is definitely very good, though of course, I think Autarchs also put up a very solid fight. The Autarch is significantly cheaper, about 30 points cheaper, and while they do slow the unit slightly by 1 inch, they give them free stratagems, melee that is, in my opinion, better than Jane's, and still great movement that means the unit is still very fast, of course. The Autarch also gains Fight First when leading Banshees, which is very good on melee, as good as them. And of course, you also get access to enhancements, which is just excellent, which also has none of the downsides of being an epic hero, so Autarchs are definitely my preferred of the 2. However, I think if you're wanting to run multiple Howling Banshees units, there's definitely a good argument to be running both Jane Czar in a unit and an Autarch in another. Good for those who are playing, say, Yggdrasil as their craft world of choice, as they tend to have a lot of Howling Banshees. Moving on to detachment options, there's only 2 that have anything that really affects them in a big way. The War Host allows you to have extra movement on Swift as the Wind, up to +3 instead of +2, which is very good. It gives you an extra battle focus token, which is exceptional, and that means these gals can always be immune to Overwatch, and they can get free command rerolls from an enhancement, or even another free battle focus token from another enhancement, which of course you'd have to bring an Autarch for, but I think that's reasonable. I'd say that this is a very solid detachment. It's just a general purpose detachment that's going to be good with everything. And then the other one to mention is, unsurprisingly, the Aspect Host. Here, actually, the Autarchs really shine, as they can have up to damage 4 melee with precision from an enhancement, again with the Fights First, which is nasty on its own, but its core rule of either rerolls ones to hit or wound is exceptional, as they both hit and wound most things very efficiently, and the enhancement for both is also great. There is the only stratagem that really applies to these gals is, interestingly enough, warrior focus, which allows no changes to any stats of your weapons. No weapon skill modifier, no weapon skill ballistic skill can't be changed or modified, AP can't be changed, damage can't be changed, attack stat can't be changed either, which is very good. It means Marines can't hide behind Armor of Contempt, and Dreadnoughts can't hide behind -1 damage. Though I'd still say don't have them charging into a Dreadnought every turn, even though they can force damage on it pretty effectively. Moving on to competition, there's 3 main units that I think offer a similar role. The troops, of course, come to mind, who have less melee danger, though they're more generalists with their options for +1 to wound, and they have 4+ invuln all the time, which means they're overall more durable. However, the troop is slower than the Banshees, as they lack advance and charge, and their damage is significantly lower thanks to lower AP and no damage too. However, they do fulfill similar roles. The Incubi from the Inari are slower, but still marginally cheaper by about 10 points. Their melee damage is similar, though I would still give it to the Banshees overall, and their special rule is significantly worse, being forcing battleshock tests on enemies at engagement range. And then the last one I wanted to mention is the also freshly buffed Shining Spears. Their melee is now damage 3 across the board, which is exceptional, with Lance and Anti-Monster Vehicle 3+ on their Lances, though I would say these units, given their smaller size and being bikers, are more suited to, funnily enough, hunting things like vehicles. Would you be surprised, since they have the rules for it? Though they may also pull ahead slightly against Terminators, but given their smaller unit and lack of any leader options, I think that their damage output against most infantry is not going to be as good as the Howling Banshees, the stars of this video. The Howling Banshees, in my opinion, are a very good unit that don't have anyone else that fills their role exactly. Even things like Striking Scorpions, for example, are slower and don't have as much melee damage as well. I think this is the premier melee infantry, with maybe the Wraith Blades offering a good competitor to the Howling Banshees. However, that just about covers the competition section. It's time for us to move on to their best use, which is both at once simple and very straight and complicated. The Banshees are specialized infantry hunters. They always have been. Though they can, in a pinch, finish off really almost anything. Even a knight is really not going to want to have to take those 2 AP3 damage 3 saves, which could, very easily finish off a weakened enemy. And in the Aspect Host, as I mentioned, those stats cannot be reduced, so that can be just a flat, reliable amount of damage on a lot of vehicles. Though any infantry they do come into contact with will unsurprisingly be ripped apart. Even without a character, they can kill things. They easily wipe any squad of Space Marines. Terminators, they can usually kill 5 with ease, and even the toughest things like Deathwing Knights, they're usually killing 2, and with a character it jumps to 3, which of course is great because the Deathwing Knights are just so naturally resilient. They are about as tough as papier-mâché, so keep that in mind. They are very easy to kill with even things like bolters, so you need to always keep a focus token for them to turn off Overwatch, which will make them so much more resilient and turn things like Rubric Marines from a unit that just naturally counters them to one that gets countered by them. Have them advance all the time, because there's really no reason not to, and have them jump from ruin to ruin to stay out of line of sight and then pounce on someone. Given their immense speed and advance and charge, they should be able to do that by turn 2 at the latest and make their points back then and there, assuming it's an infantry unit. While they can have one solid round of dealing with tanks, it's not lasting, and it's more of something you should do when you need to execute a vehicle than take it on in prolonged combat. So leave the tank hunting to the fire dragons mostly. But play these gals smart, little cagey, and your enemy infantry will wish they were never born. Anyways, I've been Spoons Rattling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.